Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm briefly going to be going over the new Gems of War faction of the Court of Foxes, as well as 5 teams to be using throughout the Delves, as well as the Pure faction team. So of course, Court of Foxes is associated to the brand new kingdom that we just got a couple weeks ago of Vulpacea. We can go ahead and quite a few things for the kingdom, and actually ends up bringing it up to 7 stars now, with the 4 new troops, 1 new pet, and 1 new weapon. Introduced through this faction. It is a red-green restriction as far as what you're capable of using within here, and of course you're allowed to use any colored hero weapon, as the hero weapon itself is not restricted. As far as the layout, we do have a nice straightforward, just go straight to final boss room kind of floor, where you just go and make a straight line, which is always great to see. The 3-room, unfortunately it is tier 5 in between, so sometimes they will get an annoying effect. However, aside from that, it is a nice clean path. As far as treasure rooms are concerned, it seems to only be the furthest ones to the right. So these two right over here. Unfortunately, these two are not. The other ones that curve out, only the ones that go all the way deep on the inner sides. But you can't get there directly from the boss room. So you have to go and go through here, end up taking out that battle. So basically, order for doing it, if you're doing it for multiplier order, you would likely go straight for the 5 times, take out these 2 rooms, take out the next 2, and then go for your final 2 treasure rooms, then into the final room. And of course, if you're just doing rush method, you could just make a straight line every single time, and you're already going to be good to go. As far as points are concerned and everything related to the events, what I mean by rush method is you can end up buying up more sigils, and basically just go straight through the delve in order to get there as quickly as possible, as you can see from some people who have already done 500. And it's only been, gosh, what, even 2 hours? And people have already gotten the entirety of it done, but that they did it because you could just go straight to the final room. This does cost you more sigils, as you'll be basically the way that Valravens work is it's actually based on the number of battles you do, even though it costs 1 sigil per floor or per level. Every single 10 levels it goes up, but every single floor you end up getting as many battles as you want with your 1 sigil. But the Valraven is based on how many battles you do. So if you just go and straight rush the final room, you're not going to get as many Valravens, meaning you will consume more of your sigils due to getting less of them overall. So you do want to do every single room if you want to maximize or reduce the amount of gems you'll have to end up getting by maximizing the amount of sigils you get. Otherwise, you can end up buying more of them and just rush them down in order to get the event done in a quicker amount of time. As far as main milestones, I would say do at least 410. 410 gives you the weapon, and honestly, the weapon's not that bad, particularly the first perk on it. You get to choose, or it converts all gems of a chosen color, or of an enemy mana color, to spirit gems. So let's say you get to choose the enemy. So let's say they are green-blue. It'll either convert all, or actually green-blue is a bad example because blue is one of the ones that already exists. You generally want to target something that doesn't have blue in it. So let's say a yellow-purple. It'll either convert all of the yellow to blue spirit gems, or all of the purple. You do not get to choose the color of that enemy, but you do get to choose the enemy of which it gets chosen from. The only way that you can get a guaranteed color is, let's say they're running, Urskia Shield. It is a pure brown weapon. If you target that, you will guarantee get the convert onto brown. This has potential to be good. The biggest issue with it is if the enemy team has a lot of blue on it, as converting all blue gems to blue spirit gems does absolutely nothing, pretty much. If anything, it helps the enemy. So this is going to be a very bad weapon against blue teams, but could be a okay mana accumulator for teams, particularly against teams that have a single or pure color. They can end up utilizing it against. Its secondary effect just ends up doing some damage, boosted by spirit gems, nothing particularly special, pretty underwhelming amount of damage. Overall, the weapon's probably not going to be used much, but it's yet another mana drain weapon on hero, so it does have some potential going forward, as that's always nice to see. But as far as getting the entirety of the event done, it really depends how much skipping you do. Generally, you have to buy tier 7 about 3-4-ish times, about 3-ish if you're doing waiting all the way till Sunday and doing absolutely every single room. You probably want to aim for more towards 5 if you're planning on skipping some, maybe up to like floor 200 and then starting to do all of them. And if you're planning to skip the whole way, you might need to get around 6 or 7-ish of it, maybe even more if you're planning to do it exactly the day of, instead of waiting until like Saturday or Sunday to get those free sigils, as you do get 3 of them per day. Up to 9 total, because you get 1 for the very first day, and of course the 2 other 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, as this event does last for 3 days, as all the weekend ones do. Anyways, aside from that, let's go start showing the teams. So if we go over to troops here, all of these will be in the description below if you want to go and copy paste any of them. The first one we have here actually utilizes Sky Hero, Sky Hero is a weapon currently available right now in Soulforge. 3 days for that. Today, tomorrow, and Sunday. It's been available all of this week, but these are the last few days to get it. Overall, it's a very situational weapon, but it's still kind of usable, so I figured, hey, might as well actually go and use it here. So it ends up destroying a column. You generally want to do either the far left or the far right column, and whichever one of them has more yellow. Or just do it in any location that has 3 or more yellow within the column. And basically, as long as you have 2+ yellow, you'll get a decent amount of red. And ideally, that red will actually turn, especially if you get 3+ yellows within that column. And this will feed your Mirrorlift, this will feed your Queen Titania. Mirrorlift just goes crazy with mana. Queen Titania just does all the damage. You can also do Yagwe Queen Titania, and just do the Empower into that, as I believe we do have access to Tapon, which you can end up doing for that. Tapon, or how do you spell his name? Oh no, I forget how to spell him. Well, you know how I can get to him? Empower, green, blue, all color. Boom, there he is. Tape. Oh, there's a dash. I knew it was Tapon, but it's Tay-Pon, or Pan, or however you say that. But anyways, yeah, this is also an alternative you could do, like replace out that for Tapon, replace out Mirrorlift for Yagwe, and kind of go down that route. But I kind of want to do it with this. It's a little bit more consistent. It does use Queen Titania as pretty much your only damage source, but really that's all you need. Yagwe is just kind of overkill at this range if you're just using it for the lower range, so that's all you really need. But you can always go the alternative route if you so choose. As far as the next one, obviously we have access to pretty standard Rowanne, as standard as you get. Hero weapon doing whatever. Rowanne, Mirage Queen Leprechaun, you can trade this out for any hero class you want to get XP on, like the new one from the most recent kingdom, the Spirit Walker, or you could just run whatever's strong, like Green Storm, to make sure Rowanne gets even more mana. For the higher range, we do have access to Tesla with red and green. Holy Saint Astra gives 50% mana start to all humans. Tesla is a human. Tesla demolishes everything, and you're just good to go. It scales based on all armor, so it scales throughout the entirety of the delves. As the enemy keeps getting more and more armor, you too end up getting more and more damage. And our Scale Shields mostly just here to keep things alive, as well as even more armor if it didn't already have enough damage. And you just use a tanky hero class of any you wish to use. Ideally a 50% mana start one, just to kind of get things going a little bit quicker. Though it can be pretty much any hero class you wish, as well as pretty much any weapon you wish. Next we have a little bit of a different Zuul'Goth team. You can't run the super standard one, so we end up mixing up a little bit. Still using Leprechaun because it's broken beyond belief. But we do have ourselves a good old O'Shea's Tome. This doesn't end up getting too much value here. We're not even using an elemental hero class. But you don't need to get that much value to end up getting all the explosions from it. You're going to be still getting 12 here because it does it per blue ally and elemental. And well, O'Shea's Tome is blue. Wild Queen is elemental. And Zuul'Goth is blue, so we get 12 explodes, which is perfectly fine. Obviously 16, 20, 24, stuff like that is a little bit better, but 12 is already enough to clear a good majority of the board, so you don't really need much more than that. You can run elementals if you want here. Main reason for Dragon Guard is for triple damage burning, if you want to try utilizing that. Obviously there will be battles that will have immune, and you don't have any counter to that, other than hitting it with Zuul'Goth. However, on the teams, of which there will be many, that don't have any immune to burn, you'll be able to get that triple damage burning just to kind of speed it up a little bit. Wild Queens to keep you a little bit safer as well as give you more attack. Leprechaun for mana accumulation, and Zuul'Goth just is standard Zuul'Goth things. Anyways, as far as Purifaction is concerned, also it does use the new banner too from the new kingdom. I tried using both the two new banners. This one is from the Vulpacea kingdom, the banner for it. And this next one is from the faction itself, which makes good sense that it would work for the faction team. But it's a +2 red, +1 green, -1 brown, I believe that was. Oh, sorry, -1 yellow. That really looks like brown. But yeah, it's a +2 red, +1 green, -1 yellow. And there's quite a few ways you could run this. You could run the Resummoner here. Oh yeah, I didn't actually go over the troops here. Most of them are pretty irrelevant going forward, unfortunately. However, let's go take a quick, brief look at them. So, of course, there are 4 troops that you could choose from for this. And basically, you just want to spam the Legendary. You could even just go 4 of them. You could end up putting the Resummoner there. But let's go over what they do. So, Court Herald basically just summons a troop. Both of its 2 perks do almost nothing different, but I guess this time in a Shadow Fox, so if you feel like you don't have enough tank ability, you could easily replace out one of the Legends, or even just your only other troop for the Court Herald in order to get the Shadow Fox, so that your team going into the final battle will end up ultimately being Shadow Fox, the Foxfire King, a Court Herald, and then another Foxfire King, assuming your first slot had died at some point. Next up we have the Phantom Fox. It's mostly a mana accumulator. You're pretty much only clicking its first ability, which is to get to explode all purple. Obviously, if the enemy has a counter to purple, or there's not that many purple on the board, it won't be able to do as much. Even though it's going to explode, realistically, every purple on the board, there might only be like 5 of them, so it's not going to be that many explosions. However, still mana accumulation, so good to kind of offset it just so you have something that can mana accumulate. It also has the option to double mana burn, However, this doesn't really do that much, and you get way more value just from doing the explosions, especially since mana burn is physical damage, not true damage, which is relevant due to what the mythic does. I mean, the legendary. For the Shadow Fox, which is the thing that the Court Herald can end up summoning, you get to convert all yellow gems to Spirit Gems, or convert all yellow gems to skulls. So both of them are converting yellow gems, just do a different thing. So you can basically get double different alignments off the same color. Either converting them into Spirit Gems, which are those blue ones for mana drain, or converting them into skulls for skull pressure. And it does get stealthy, though given that it's going to be summoned in the first slot off of Court Herald, stealthy isn't really going to do anything. If anything, it's almost a bad thing because it makes your good units get targeted more often. Speaking of which, the Foxfire King is basically the only thing you need. It is yet another faction where you can literally just spam the legend 4 times over and you'll be perfectly fine. As long as you go into the fight with 3 legend or 2 legend and a utility troop, you should be fine going into the final battle, regardless of your stats for the most part. It gets to choose between 2 abilities, though one of them is the only one you're ever going to be clicking. It gets to deal true damage to all enemies, which is the one you'll pretty much click every single time unless there's only one enemy left. Or it gets to deal a bunch of true damage to the weakest enemy, boosted by red gems and spirit gems, which of course is more damage to that singular unit. However, you're doing way less overall damage, so unless they only have 1 unit remaining because they got 100% revive or just revive in general, that's the only time you're really going to go for its second ability. Otherwise, you're just going for true damage on all enemies every single time. And since it is true damage, it will kill them pretty quickly, especially with multiple on your team, especially with all the other mana accumulation, because you get a bunch of explodes to start a battle, you have enchant, you have a bunch of other effects. It won't take that long at all in order to get their mana, even when they're fully mana blocked, as enchant per turn will give them mana. It also has 25% mana start, so you don't even have to run 20%. If I'm not mistaken, every single thing here has the new 25% mana start trait, which is not particularly good, but if nothing else, it does mean that for Pure Faction, you will not have to run an Anu. You can simply run 12 additional magic, which give you even more true damage to its capabilities. And if you really want to, if you have the spare resources to, it is a mage, which means it does gain 6 additional magic from being fully maxed out. So you can end up giving it 6 more true damage to all enemies. This isn't required, though if you feel like you need the extra little bit of bonus, even if you just want to do like the first upgrade with like one of those bronze little glory token thingies, you'll at least get 1 more true damage to all enemies for 4 total, which can still help out a lot. So if you find that you're struggling on the Pure Faction, even with all the other bonuses, you can end up going down that route as well to give it a few extra damage, and also offset it with resummon if you really need it, to have that little bit of extra tankability as summons. Anyways, that is pretty much the full rundown. Attributes ready on the new faction of Court of Foxes. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comments section below. We will be streaming the Court of Foxes faction throughout the entire weekend. We stream every single day here on the channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and of course, throughout this entire weekend, we will be going through the entirety of the Delves, all the way from 20 all the way to 500 Pure Faction. That is the game plan. Anyways, if you guys want the teams, they're all in the description below if you want to use them this weekend or anytime in the future, and I will catch all of you guys later. Goodbye, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.